So while I've been locked in for the whole COVID pace, I've been trying to think of things we can do, and this is a thought about how to make shot lines easier to handle in the boat. The idea is to turn the whole line into a relatively tight running chain braid. A running chain braid then that will come to bits as soon as something starts pulling on the two ends of the rope. That way we can deploy this thing into the water. This is unlikely to tangle, and the ropes can still run free. So I'll show you how to set it up and then we'll try it out. To make a running braid, running chain, not really sure of the right name, take the rope and double it over. This is 10 meters of rope in this case, doubled over. Well, not rope, it's actually it's cord for holding curtains back. Anyway, here's a loop made in the rope. We take another bit, the remaining section of rope from our hand, and run it through to make a loop. Push it through as a loop through the loop and pull that. That's our starting loop. To then continue making the chain, you need to pull the rope through the loop to make another loop, and reach through again, pull the remaining rope to make a loop, and you just run along bit by bit by bit, reaching through the loop, pulling out the chain. It's not a particularly complicated knot to tie, because just repeating this pull through action again and again and again. I've got 10 meters of this window cord which is being pulled through, and I'm not pulling particularly tight loops because the idea is that these should run out easily when you want to eventually deploy your shot line. So I'm pulling these through fairly loosely, as you can see, until I get to the end anyway. Here's the last loop, and then just to lock the last loop, if you're not wanting to immediately deploy it, you can put the remaining line through the hole. That way you've got this. This is 10 meters of rope. So on deployment, that will go fairly readily. You undo this guy, so you pull that last pair through, tie these two onto your shot weight and your buoy, and tie these guys one on to the shot weight and one on to the buoy. And you can tie them on with anchor bends. That'll be the story for another day. Essentially, tying them on consists taking one end, trying to avoid putting too much tension on the remaining rope because we don't want it to unravel too soon, but then tying the anchor bend onto the shot weight as we go, like this, which is a loop and loop, and an anchor bend is normally quite adequate for a shot weight. And you can do the same game for the buoy. Loop around. Remember, the anchor bend, you put the free end through the loops that are holding onto an object, and that way tension increases the holding force. And there we go. And then these can come apart very readily when need to, but we don't end up with a big tangle of rope. We only have that much rope on the deck for 10 meters of rope in the water. There we go. Here's how it works. Okay, so I'm in the boat and I've got the shot line, and my glamorous assistant is the sea, and we're going to deploy the shot, and the buoy stays on the surface, and here's the braided line, and the shot is now sinking, and down it goes, and it doesn't tangle, and the line stays braided, and there we go. And as the shot continues to deploy, the braid gradually comes to bits, happily, no tangling possible, without needing a whole load of lines on the deck. So my proposal is that we deploy shots like this. We braid the lines up, and I'll show you how to do that, and then we deploy them and nothing goes wrong. Hooray!